subscriber stream on lichess and Twitch, International Master William Pascal. We are going to be doing game analysis with the subscribers and subscribers on my Twitch stream, that is Sladgie on Twitch. So guys, if you are a subscriber, and most of you have done this, you can submit a game and we'll go over it together here on the stream live. S4All says, I'm playing in a simul against the GM. Actually, speaking of playing in a simul against the GM, one of our subscribers played a live simul against Mr. Niditch here at the Marshall Chess Club. So, move 11, we're going to get to go over this game he played with Niditch, probably second. Tushar actually asked me to go over his game first, so the stream is up and running. I just want to give you guys a shout out for chesslecture.com. This is a site that I worked with a lot in the past, still do. I have over 500 videos over there. If you want to check out chesslecture.com until June 1st, you can get a discount membership for 3 months for $15, and that's more than 50% off. So check out chesslecture.com. Anyway, guys, International Master William Pascal here on lichess.org. We are streaming on Twitch as Sladgie. We're doing a subscriber stream. I do game analysis here. Everything looks okay. We're dropping rating points. Blitz down to 2346. It looks like my FIDE rating. That's kind of disturbing. Okay, anyway, we're still okay in rapid, but the blitz has got to be fixed. S4All chose a King's Gambit. Hey, what's up? What's up, move 11? I just mentioned your game against Niditch. Well, S4All, I think that you're very dangerous in unclear, kind of imbalanced positions. So you could probably, confuse a grandmaster in one of those King's Gambit type of scenarios. You don't want like a boring technical position against a grandmaster. Of course, depending on the grandmaster we're talking about. I am a sandbagger. I almost lost to a 1700 a minute ago. The guy, I'm just a little bit sleepy, and I thought I was winning back a piece, but I just lost a piece. And I had one pawn for a piece, but the guy just kind of didn't have the technique to win it in time, and I managed to win with the clock, and that was ugly. Maybe Nefyadov saw the game. I was just lost against the 1700. So that's the way it goes. You gotta swindle some games sometimes. We've got challenges from move 11, Troll and a Roll, Nefyadov. But the main focus here, I will mix in a few games with those guys. With the subscribers, we're doing game analysis. Everyone's welcome to watch. Irishman, a new player there, a new viewer. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to move a little bit here. I'm kind of squashed in terms of space. I don't have as much space as in my normal office. Irishman, I'm just taking challenges from the subscribers, and we're not going to take many of those. Today's stream is game analysis. It's my subscriber stream, so I'm going over games, analyzing games from my subscribers. We might play a few games, but I'm really only going to take maximum 3 games from subscribers. So don't bother to challenge me if you're not a subscriber. Like Protein X, I don't think he's a subscriber. Anyway, he's challenging me to 3+2. The other day I played him a game because it was 3+2, but it was just the last game. I didn't have much time. I only play 5+3 or longer usually. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna take the game analysis that Tushar sent me. Tushar has to go, so he asked me to analyze his game first. So this is a tough game, and rook ending that was kind of complicated. Please check out. Oh my god. It's only 100 moves. So Tushar, alright, I want to try to keep the game analysis to... Can I say game analysis? Keep the game analysis per game to 15 minutes max per game. So try to keep me in line. I don't think our subscriber? Yeah, our moderator is here. Who is this Protein X guy? Always 3+2. Well, you see, I was feeding the birds. I let him play one game with 3+2. Now he thinks that's a standard time control, but it's not. I only play 5+3 and higher. Soltigo, I think you're probably busy, but thanks for moderating. Just want to say hi. Anyway, let's bring this game up. Tushar is, he's in India, so the time there is, I don't know, it's in the late evening, after midnight. Irishman says pronounced analyses. Thank you. Game analyses. Alright, so this is Tushar playing black. Provisional guy. He's playing also like 2098. I don't know much about this guy, of course. He just got a new account, so let's see the game itself. So Manas against Tushar. Tushar's black. Let's flip the board. You guys, just little knowledge thing here. If you play on lichess, you can press the F key to flip the board. Something I learned at one point. After being on lichess for quite a while, I didn't realize that. So if you don't know the F key, that's a useful little trick. All right, let's play. Or let's analyze. Analyses. So D4, Tushar's black. He's playing knight F6. What? No way. You can flip it with the F key. All right. But only if your mouse is over the board. Your mouse has to be hovering over the board. If it's like off the board, it doesn't work. It has to... No, it does work. Wow, it was like in the annotator box and it still worked. Let me try over here. Yeah, it doesn't actually have to be over the board. I thought it did. Okay, anyway. Okay, C4, C6. Kind of a weird way to play the Slav, but there's no way to avoid the Slav here. I mean, this could have some particular reason. I mean, is there any reason that Tushar is playing this particular move order? Well, if you play D4, D5, you have to worry about certain things, like maybe the London system, closed queen pawn games. Maybe he wants to deal with that with a different way of setting up. So there could be some reasons for Tushar's move order. Which one is the any key? That's like Goat Simulator. Has anybody here played Goat Simulator? Press the any key. Anyway, little video game joke. But alright, C4, C6. Great game, by the way, Goat Simulator. Great way to pass the time when you're kind of stressed out and you just want to take your frustrations out on strange objects in a simulated situation. Okay, knight C3. I am streaming on Twitch, so we can talk about video games, right? Can you see my game, which I sent you yesterday? S4. We have your game. Yeah, we should have it, no problem. You have a bad record against the London system. The guy always played the same setup, so I want to get out of it. Well, he's like provisional. How many times have you played him? Oh, he's got tons of blitz games. Tons of rapid. What is this? Rated. Okay, so you played him before. This was actually classical. So you played him many games, but in different time control. I see. So knight C3, E3, and now G6. Goat Simulator? You don't know about Goat Simulator? Oh my god. Okay, G6. What are we going to do here? I mean, G6, the problem with G6, it's a solid line. It's not particularly sharp. I think a kind of dull setup, but very, very solid for black, Tushar. Just that's my opinion. If you really want to go, you know, you really want to be aggressive, I think probably like the semi-Slav is the... I know that it seems ironic to play like the Kali system with colors reversed, but there was recently a Shanklin game. He won a nice game with black in just randomly throwing stuff out there. Sam Shanklin won a nice game in Cuba in the Capablanca Memorial in some kind of Marin. Anyway, I think the Marin is a good way to play for a win. But Tushar plays G6, Knight F3, Bishop G7. I don't even want to start to try to understand how White's supposed to get an advantage here. I've been pretty frustrated myself. This is actually... this guy has challenged me to what? Okay, I'm not going to play a lot of challenges, guys. This is actually a analysis stream, so I do throw in a few challenges. That opponent of mine is 2100 USCF. Wow, and he actually works at Twitch. That's a small world. Okay. So, but it's really hard to get an advantage against the Schlechter Slav with the bishop blocked in. I also play E3 against the Grunfeld, and you're basically doing like C6, kind of a passive setup, but difficult to recommend. I mean, I've tried stuff like H3, I think, with White. There is no panacea here, you know, for White to try to get an advantage. Look at the statistics, though. I mean, it's pretty amazing. White's score, I'm kind of honestly surprised by. I mean, you see like 42% to 13% wins, 38% to 14% wins. It's pretty much straight across the board. But I'm surprised that White's score is that overwhelming. I mean, there isn't a whole lot going on for White. Cosine 180. We have seen that before. Him before. Or her. Or it. Plant-based life. No, just kidding. I mean, whatever. Bishop e2. Okay, I don't know which line is best for white. I have no clue. Here, Tushar can play bishop g4. Okay. This seems to be a rare move, Mr. Tushar. You played bishop knight on bd7. Recommended by the engine at first sight, but you can never trust, any computer engine when it's just like only had a few seconds to think about it, especially the opening. Bob, we've got to put Bob on the list for subscriber analysis games. So, I mean, bishop g4 is solid. You're basically swapping pieces out with that move. But, okay, I wouldn't recommend the Schlechter Slav as a winning attempt with black anyway. It's just a solid defense for black. Tushar here plays knight on bd7. It's kind of strange. I'm surprised that Stockfish wants to play that. But it seems like bishop g4 would be more business-like here for black. So knight on bd7. But even so, it's difficult for white to do anything special. I would play b3. I don't particularly like... The engine wants to play cd. But as usual, I don't like giving up the tension here for no particular reason. Like, why does white benefit by trading on d5? So I would play b3. Let's see what our opponent does. He plays queen c2. Now, this move is slightly controversial. Looks like Svidler played it. The computer, Sebastian Feller, who was kicked out of the International Chess Federation for cheating with computers in his live games. That's always good. Not too many grandmasters have actually gotten turned out like that, but he may be like reinstated now. I don't know. But he was banned for several years. I don't think anyone could normally. You could come back after something like that, but okay. Queen c2. Now the debate with queen c2: will this queen, in some lines, maybe get faced off with a rook on c8 and be exposed? But I think it's still a reasonable move. I'm gonna take too long here if I don't help it. So I don't know what to do with black here, Tushar. This is the opening and it's very important. What is black supposed to do here? Rook e8 just feels like you may be wandering into a kind of like bad exchange variation at some moment. If he's able to build up down the c file, moves like rook e8 might not matter too much. That's a novelty you played here. It looks like d takes c4 is played for the most part, giving up the center and then trying to break with c5. To me, that makes sense. Like taking here, losing a tempo, if you will, and then either knight b6 or c5. If we can play c5, it would be nice, but only one player brave enough to do that, it looks like. Who was that? My friend, Vladimir Bermakin. We used to play blackjack together in Slovenia. My good friends. Anna Ushanina against Vladimir Bermakin. This was played in a tournament I played in Slovenia in 2005. This was probably the blackjack tournament when Bermakin and I were going together to play blackjack in the casino. Anna Ushanina, former world champion for women. She's a good friend of mine. I haven't seen her in years. Really, really great player. Very talented. And beautiful as well. But anyways, c5, it's an interesting idea, to try to play some kind of move where we're breaking white's center. I don't know. That's Bermakin for you. He managed to win a game there, but white should be slightly better. Let's move on. All right, so Tushar plays what here? Rook e8. Okay. Again, I'm concerned now the c file starts to become a real thing. This is a good move by white. And Tushar just busts out with e5. I mean, having said, the saying we say in English, of course, Tushar is from India. They do speak English. But the saying, having said A, we say B is in American English, probably English, British English used as well. We say this a lot. I mean, after playing rook e8, it seems like a logical follow-through. We're playing in the spirit of the semi-Slav. Will black get an isolated pawn on d5 or something like that? So, okay, very few people would play the computer bishop a3 here. C takes d5 looks like most natural. I don't see anything wrong. Your opponent, like the computer, gave him a dubious for d takes c5. That's a little bit harsh. It's hard to believe that d takes c5 is really bad, but you can argue that you're activating black's pieces, like bringing this knight off of d7, bringing the rook out to e5, liberating the bishop on c8. You know, that's the question. So Turkey Farm, another guy who's playing versus Simul GM right now. Okay. We have to talk to this GM. He's not allowed to do simuls while I'm doing my subscriber stream, because that's not cool. All right, no. He's got to move it. Nah. Move it. Move it. Move your simul to a different time, GM man. But seriously, okay, so I like c takes d5. I don't understand why not c takes d5. That seems like the most logical. Here, okay, so he plays d takes e5, and then your response is knight takes e5. Nothing fancy here like knight to g4. Knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and then rook takes e5, and the rook is lively there. It looks like slightly exposed. That's probably white's thought, you know, that, well, the rook's going to be floating on e5, kind of hard to transfer it for direct attack, and it's going to get hit by bishop b2. I still like cd better than d takes e. I forget exactly what the WASM means. Alright, so bishop b2, and now rook e8, like a normal human move. Bishop f5 gains a kind of tempo, though. Yeah, that's tempting. Tushar did not go for that. Okay. It's a long game, guys. I think rook e8 is kind of natural, but it is slightly passive. You got to consider d takes c, because here you just clarified the pawn structure, and at least you don't have an isolated pawn on d5. Rook d1, and the white is at least equal. Okay. So Tushar just retreats, but now I'm a little bit concerned about the d-file. Like, maybe you're just going to get pinned to this pawn. And the nightmare scenario here is that you end up with an isolated pawn and no counterplay, let's say, you know? So that's our Discord, Pub Sladgie. You guys can check it out. And that's new. So please join us in Discord. Rook on a to d1 looks good. What does white do here? He does that. Obviously, I haven't played through this game already. Tushar hit him with bishop f5, and the queen is a little short of squares. So queen c1 looks natural. White, obviously, like a very decent positional player. Playing safely, doesn't create any imbalance, but doesn't create any weaknesses in his position. Now bishop e6, okay. He who hesitates is lost. But we have a little problem, obviously, with this. So, excuse me, we got slight problems here for black. Yeah, what to do? What would I do in this position? Try not to look at the engine for a minute. I mean, if you guys specifically want to request that I don't use the engine when we analyze, I do it that way. I like to do it that way. I understand people are critical of it. But I really want to try to play like the computer, so when it's hanging out in the background, I try not to look at it all the time. But I do think that we can learn from it and learn to play more like, you know, an engine, more just being able to see what it's thinking all the time, I find useful. But you can't use it as a crutch, as a substitute for human thought. It's hard to kind of balance it out. Yeah, white's playing very solid. Tushar says like Karpov style play. I agree. No risk, you know, but this is a very common style at top level, you know, with a lot of players. And myself, I try to play low risk mostly. But what to do here? There is no really good looking option. Yeah, what would I do here? I hate to play bishop e6. I mean, honestly, if it was my game, you know, probably like back there when you played rook e8, I probably would have gone for d takes c4 and just gotten a clean structure. Let's say rook d1, move the queen, maybe not e7, c7, or so. I probably would have played something like this, and then white recaptures maybe with the bishop. You even have ghost threats with like knight g4. I mean, that could get like devastating if you got the queen on c7, knight g4, and then rook h5, and then bishop, man, you could just kill the guy on the king side. He's in fact like maybe better off actually taking with the pawn on c4, which would take a strong player to appreciate that. So the bishop just guards these squares over here, g4, h5. There's no rook h5. There's no mates on h2. It would take a strong player. And this is a Caro-Kann type of structure where you accept isolated, like, rook and bishop, let's say, old school notation. You accept the isolated A and C pawns because notoriously those pawns aren't that bad. Kind of typical structure. Anyway, that's the way I would have played it. Tushar left himself with an isolated pawn. He had to retreat here with bishop e6. And now white played bishop f3. Very logical move, putting pressure on d5. Queen a5 getting out of the pin. And everything's protected, you know. So now do we take with the piece or we take with the pawn? It's a pretty key question here. You are on a2. Freudian slip. You know, theoretically, you should probably not trade pieces in general when you have an isolated pawn. But I'm thinking here, one thing you don't want is knights on the board. If you're going to have an isolated pawn, what you don't want to see are several things. A king and pawn endgame and a knight endgame. You know, those are the worst. If it's like a rook endgame or a bishop endgame, say you drop the d5 pawn, there's still like pretty good drawing chances. But in knight endgames, it can be unforgiving. So I like Tushar, you know, taking with the knight here. White takes, then we take there. You could also take on b2, but it develops white's queen, so I don't know. I like the bishop takes here, swapping more pieces. I think your chances of drawing in a major piece ending where you have a bad structure like an isolated pawn are pretty good. His extra pawn will be like on the king side, 4 against 3. It's kind of sad here. It is move 17. We're talking about how to draw with black. You actually ended up winning the game, which is hard to believe in this position. I think it's safe to say I would never in my life lose this position with white unless there was something seriously wrong with me. But this guy did manage to lose. Queen b2, king g8. It's a tough call between f6 and king g8. You do have some weaknesses on the dark squares, and I would be concerned about something like h4, h5, h6. An idea that could have occurred in one of my games in the Budapest Spring Festival. So f6 is kind of, it also gives your bishop retreat square. You have to consider like getting some dark square control at the cost of weakening your king. It's very, very tough. Let's move along here. So rook d2, yeah, he's a solid player, there's no doubt. But this is one of those positions where I think it's important. There's a famous game, Karpov against Korchnoi, where Korchnoi was white. I don't remember which year. It was like a heavy piece ending or something like that with an isolated pawn. And Korchnoi just didn't, you know, he just didn't think really about like, well, maybe my best chance is not to defend the pawn. And instead he like passively defended the pawn, ended up making other compromising moves. Maybe black should just be prepared to lose the pawn on d5 and just get a good stance here, you know, an active stance, and say rook and queen or rook endgame, where you're down a pawn on the king side. Who cares? You know, it's going to be like 4 against 3 or something like that on the king side. Very hard for white to convert to a win. This move, you see this move, it's just based on whether or not we can like hold that pawn long term. He's holding the pawn. Can't play rook c5. I would prefer not to pin ourselves, and d8 is a passive square for the rook, but yeah, the computer's talking about, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Something like this, Tushar. Like, lose the pawn. Okay, we just lose the pawn. But at the end of the day, right, like take, we go active with maybe rook c2. He goes rook d2, and then you go like here. I mean, is this lost? I guess it's kind of torturous, you know, I would agree. Let's see, both kings approach. King f1. This is not easy. I lost to Alexander Goldine in an endgame like this once. King e2, king e7. I mean, hard for white to win and hard for black to defend. You know, it's probably like a draw with perfect defense for black, but it's kind of difficult. So I don't know, you know, if you should defend the pawn, probably. Okay, b4, queen here. He's just making safe moves, but a3 actually creates kind of a target on a3. So Tushar goes right for it. Yeah, he's got a trade, and now you're active enough. You know, there is e4, for example. But now we're talking about black winning the a3 pawn. I mean, anything could happen here. He plays rook d3, logical move. dc8. now he needs to avoid back rank mate and improve his king, which is a tall order. We're going to move a little bit faster, okay, because that's weird, but he's coming through this diagonal, or trying to come through this diagonal, but I think you can stop him with f6. It's a weird way to approach the center with your king. I mean, g5, probably don't want to weaken ourselves too much here. I don't like the fact that your pawns are fixed on white squares on the king side. It may seem like a small factor now, but that's actually a weird move for him. Now his queen side is weak. You could have played the other rook to d4 as well, or c4. So black is active here. You've got the better king and an active c-file play. d4. Okay, objectively this is like a draw. Now your king is active enough. You're active. It should be equal. And you went on to win the game somehow. But, okay, he plays a5. No. I mean, normally we want to put pawns on the sort of opposite color of the bishop. So it seems strange for me for white to play b5. You know, he should play a5 theoretically and have his pawns all on dark squares. But he was scared, maybe. Or maybe he just didn't have that much time. I don't know. I mean, you're actually threatening rook c2, which is going to be kind of paralyzing. I don't like the way the white played this. He's lost his advantage. It's a tough call, like to take on b5. Do you want to take on b5 or not? I feel like take on b5 and then play rook c2. You played rook c2 right away. And now, okay, he takes, you take. And he seeks active counterplay. And this was a good call, maybe, by him, you know. Although, what's he going to do? Play rook f1 and have his rook paralyzed? Have his rook paralyzed to the f-pawn? He's misplayed the position pretty badly, I think. Moving the pawns up, starting with like a3 was really bad. Rook takes f2. You're up a pawn now. Still, I feel like white should somehow survive here with best play. It looks like he does get counterplay. This is kind of like why I wanted to consider going back, and I wanted to consider taking on b5 for black. I felt like maybe the b7 pawn was hard for him to get access to. And you do control the a file and the c file. So if you take on b5, like takes on b5, takes on b5, rook takes f2, how does he penetrate? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get it. A takes b5, sorry. So a takes b5. A takes b5, rook here. Now he can take on d5. Oh, I see. And that's pretty crazy, huh? Bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, rook takes f2. Wow. I'm surprised that black isn't better here. Check. King up. Wow, I'm surprised with this computer here. It's like just putting all of its money in this b pawn. I guess this is a draw. So, anyway, Tushar, I can't spend too much more time. Got to go, but we got to go on. But, I mean, it was a good game. You defended okay, and I think that white shouldn't have lost, but he lost his way here in the ending. Now it's like, apparently, a blunder coming up here. You had a very big position. You played h5, which looks like an awfully natural move, but you walked into e4. That's kind of a miracle. Just a miracle. That shouldn't have had to happen, You don't have to allow e4. So here you could have just taken the pawn on e3. And then he takes on h7. And then you go like rook a3. And you're just going to play an endgame with what? An extra pawn. And very good winning chances. Rook takes e3, rook takes h7, rook a3. In the game that Tushar... In the game, Tushar ended up winning anyway, but this guy should have saved it now. He gets in e4, and actually it's hard to believe that white lost after this. Rook d2. I mean, I don't know. This looks unlosable. It's just a draw, so he went on to lose, but this should be a draw at this point. I mean, it's even if white loses the a pawn, it's like still a draw. Rook e4 check, kind of a cute move. Rook f4 check there. What did he play? No, this was a silly move. I mean, just like, okay, king f6. And, yeah, that was weird. But in any case, Should be a draw. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's play a game quickly, just for a kind of change of pace. Then I'll do some more game analysis. See if Move 11's here. I'm not going to take the non-subscriber challenges, but a few subscriber games, like 2 or 3, I'm going to play here just for fun. Anyway, too long to do like the end. I mean, it should have been a draw. You know, you won the game. It's kudos to you for, you know, playing it out and testing him. But, I mean, it should be a draw at that point. But what can we say? I mean, there were a lot of interesting points early on. My advice, though, you know, would only be don't play the Schlechter Slav if you're playing for a win. I think that it's basically a solid defense. I would use it against stronger players if I were black and I knew how to play it. But I don't play the Slav, so I think it's a frustrating, solid system to play against stronger players. We've got any new subscribers today? Today's subscriber stream, guys. We're doing game analysis. Here we go. I played like D3 in a recent game, but I think C4 is best. It's basically like a Tory attack against the King's Indian with colors reversed. I recommended this to Move 11. Now, I'm trying to remember. This is a fast game, so I better not talk so much. Is E6 or C6 better? But I'm getting paranoid here. Like, what happens on knight C5? Am I losing my mind? Is knight C5 a move in this position? I guess I could always play queen C2 if I have to. Knight C5 is pretty strange. Well, then again, what's he supposed to do? Yeah, I don't know about what I did here. I mean, queen B3 looks wrong. What am I supposed to play, though? He's got bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, d takes c, queen takes c4, knight e5, queen f4, knight takes f3, queen. That's like an Elyanov game. Where Elyanov actually like beat somebody with that position, I think. Do you respect the Tory attack more than London? No, I mean, I think that these openings are pretty much similar and more or less equal. For whatever reason, like, the London system is going through this huge trend now. I mean, it's really funny because I always considered the London to be like one of the most boring openings in the world. Long before it became a trend and Magnus started playing it, I would like criticize my teammates. My chess team for the Hungarian team championship, there's a lot of players who play the London system kind of as a team opening, and I was always like kind of making fun of them for not playing, you know, more theoretical kind of challenging openings. I think it's an opening kind of designed for people who don't have time to learn theory. I mean, are we still flirting with bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3 type of stuff here? And are we going to transpose to that again? Yeah, could be. Romanician. I was not playing well today. I played a blitz game or two, but I didn't think very clearly. I'm claiming jet lag, but I've been a week in the United States after flying over from Hungary, so it's a pretty lame excuse, but it feels like jet lag. Like, the afternoon, I feel like, I don't know, it's time to go to bed. Maybe, like, some of us take longer to adjust to the jet lag than others. It feels like it's like 10 o'clock at night when it's 4. So here we go with Elyanov Part 2. I had this line against the Hungarian kid, what's his name now? Back last year in April in the first Saturday Grandmaster tournament. This is like maybe this is the exact Elyanov game I was talking about. But I don't seriously really trust this. Not that I don't trust it, but it's like, okay, does white really have an advantage here? Not really. You know, I mean, I have a central pawn, if you want to call it that, on d3. Black's given up his strong point on d5. I mean, there's some Something to be said for that. I don't know what move 11 is doing with queen a5 check. It looks strange, honestly, to move the queen again. A bit weird, like, here, I'll move my queen, but, just force you to make a developing move. I don't think the queen is well placed on b6, but I don't know that, just moving it again is beneficial. So anyway, guys, welcome to my chess stream. This is the subscriber stream on my channel. Sladgie here on Twitch. Maybe you have to be Elianov to get, to make this position work. I mean, queen a5 is not that stupid. He actually has really good lateral mobility, so he stopped bishop g5, among other things. But I mean, we're talking like this is really minimalist for white. I didn't really want to play this when I played this guy. I'm trying to remember this kid. He's like a 2400 IM who I played last year in Budapest in the first Saturday GM tournament in April. We had a draw in this opening, but it wasn't this simplified line. It was a different line. So move 11 now is going into an inferior endgame. With his knight out on h5, white should have some kind of small plus. It ain't much, but I'd rather be white. That's all I can say. I'd rather be white because I have an extra move of development, like his knight's on h5. He gave up his strong point on d5. I don't have a center, but I like white a tiny bit better. You know what it is? It's the pawn island. When we talk about pawn islands, like groups of pawns, that's one island. It's very strong. It's like no weaknesses, easy to maintain, low maintenance. I can do a queenside minority attack here. And that's my plan. If I can break up his queenside, we can get a concrete advantage in terms of pawn structure. Okay, Tushar, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. I'm sorry. I mean, that's like an 80 move game. Sorry we couldn't really do more with it. This is controversial. I mean, his knight is strong on d5, but I don't want to take it, and I needed to protect, and I don't want to play. You know what I could have played there, actually, and I didn't think about it long enough, was b5. Maybe b5 was a good move, because his knight remains very strong. My hope is that I can play for b5. I can play rook c1. All my pieces work. f5 is kind of weakening if he tries to chase my knight. I mean, there's also the c5 square. Asterbate says, I'm talking about my jet lag, especially when concentration is at its highest, when it's comfortable and mind responds comfortable associated time. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not used to streaming at this time. This is not my stream time. I'm doing for months like 10 a.m. Budapest time, so it's gonna take a while for me to adjust to thinking. All right, maybe I should have pulled the trigger on b5. I don't know. A very, very small advantage for white here. Very small. It's okay, just watch the ending game. Just watch I Won the Ending, which I learned from GM Akobian. Verusian is very good at endgames. I'll give him credit for that. I can't believe he's as high rated as he is, because he never impressed me, specifically as anything special, but he never beat me. But actually we only played like twice. We only played twice. He never beat me. But he's very, very good in endgame technique, I have to admit. b5. Okay. Also knight c5. That looks strong. Pull the trigger on this before it's too late. This bishop could be superior to a knight in certain endgame scenarios. This is a face-off. It usually takes a day for every time zone to adapt. Well, that's what they say, and that's why I was like, well, it's been a week, so I should be okay. It's a 6-hour difference. But I don't feel okay. I feel like I haven't improved. Well, I mean, there's no other place to go here. He's going to lose a pawn, it looks like. He was in trouble on time. Is he going to lose a pawn? Celebrating too early. Well, oh, this is awkward. Okay, he's not going to lose a pawn directly. We're going to mess up his structure. This is just better for white. He's in under a lot of pressure. We are not winning a pawn, contrary to popular belief. Do have a pig on the 7th. We can just slowly improve the position somehow. Risky decision. I'm threatening to just double on the 7th rank. He comes up with a good move there. No tricks, please. Yes, he's every trick, man. He's so good tactically. Move 11 with every trick in the book. Constantly has every trick. With the tactics, and I have the back rank. So we're going to take him down with the A pawn. Is he still going to get counterplay here? What do I do? Rook b7. Rook b7 is like a repeating position. No, I mean the C pawn I can take. I can take the A pawn. Wow. The A pawn. Kind of a tough call, actually. But I like defending with rook c2. We'll just take our pawn and go back. Go back and hide. No, I'm going to defend. No 7th rank for you. We'll just torture him slowly. It's a lot of work to do, though. This position is a lot of work. It's a good thing there's pawns on both sides of the board. Wow. Man, that's almost like mate. That is extremely close to self-mate. No, I would agree. I don't think that king d4 is a safe place to go there. Trying to put my pawns in the right color. He's getting frisky. Here I am talking about the right color. Then I put it on g5. Not really optimal. I'm all over the map with plans here. We've got 7 different plans. I'm talking about one thing, doing another. He resigned. Well, premature resignation, no doubt. I mean, there's very good chances to win here. All right. But to check out the opening, then we'll move on to the subscriber analysis games. Because I like this line. I played this a lot. It's pretty lame for white. Wang Hao. Okay, c6, and it turns out cd is the main line. I just hate playing c takes d in principle. A handful of people have castled, actually sacking a pawn there. There just aren't too many options. My move is interesting, though. I told you guys about knight c5. I had looked at this line. Knight c5 is kind of crazy. Pigusov. If you guys get a guinea pig, which I have in Budapest, you should definitely name them after Yevgeny Pigusov. Weird Al Yakovich against Yevgeny Pigusov. That's quite a matchup. I've played them both. Draw against Pigusov, lost to Yakovich, Weird Al. Symmetrical English. Alright, but I did draw Pigusov with black. Pigusov. Knight c5 is like best move. Queen b6. We gotta have some humor here. Queen b6, d3. This is kind of lame. Then he just goes with the sterile d takes, queen takes. So this isn't exactly the Elyanov game I was talking about. Wow, the engine likes white here. Why? What am I missing? I don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, 95. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, it's equal. Very similar to Elyanov, but I guess in the Elyanov game, Black's queen wasn't on b6. Pigisov. Pigisov is an excellent player in the... He plays like the... What does he play? The English and the Accelerated Dragon. I managed to draw him with Black and a Hedgehog. It's funny to play the Hedgehog against Pigisov. But Queen a5 here. Okay, anyway, I'm slightly better. I won the game. It wasn't easy. Anyway, interesting stuff. Let's move on to game analysis. I've got move 11 is the star of the moment. So who's next? All right. I'm going to do the move 11 game. This is a game that move 11 actually... Where is my move 11 game? Move 11, do you give me permission to sign into your studies there? Actually, where is your... Move 11, where is your game? Where is your game with Knightich? Did you submit it here? Why can't I click on my mail? Okay. All right, we're gonna have to refresh. Bob, we got Bob. Where is move 11? Let's see. Maybe you sent me an email or something, move 11. Where is the move 11 game? 2018. Okay. It's in one of his studies. 2018. I looked at this the other day. Black, he has to play Black. It's like, I guess, a classical simul played at the Marshall Chess Club, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so move 11 is trying to play the Queen's Gambit declined. And he doesn't have that much experience with this opening with Black. But he's done pretty well against me. Have you ever tried smoking weed for jet lag? It gives me panic attacks. It's not a good thing. All right, d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, d5. And Knightich goes professional here. He plays the exchange variation. Nothing wrong with that. If you really want to frustrate him, you could play knight takes d5. That move, that's actually, where was I looking at a game with this recently? Maybe another game. I was studying games from, I was studying games recently from two tournaments, from the Russian Team Championship and from the Capablanca Memorial in Cuba. And I don't know, I saw a recent game where someone strong played the semi-Tarish is like, man, this is just brutal. It's so hard to win this for Black. You want to really frustrate someone, move 11, take with a knight on d5, and they'll be like, you have to be able to play the semi-Tarash, though. It's a really good opening if you want something solid for Black to frustrate strong opponents. But anyway, that's another story. So e takes d, bishop g5, and move 11 plays bishop e7, e3, castles, bishop d3, knight bd7, and I like the way that move 11 plays this. Like even 20 years ago, I knew that there's some interesting plans in delaying like c6, because if white tries to play castle's queenside, there are certain variations where you can play like c5 in one move here. I'm not sure about the move rook e8. That might be interesting as well. Rook e8. I don't like h6. One of my teammates, and I want to pull my hair out if I see him do this again, has been playing that the Stockfish likes h6. I don't understand h6. Like, why? This guy cost us, not qualifying for the first division of the team championship, losing a couple of games with this h6. I mean, what the heck is h6? I don't understand. Like, it just weakens the Black king side, reduces flexibility. What is the point of h6? I have no clue. But, rook e8, that move makes sense. But we're probably going to be playing knight d7 anyway. All right, knight bd7, knight ge2, and then h6. There it is. The move I love so much, just in honor of my teammate who cost us lots of games. Why h6? Just don't play h6. There was this funny incident with, I think he just passed away recently. Grandmaster Anatoly Line. He was a Soviet grandmaster who lived in the United States. He moved to the U.S. like years and years ago in the late 70s. Once I played Anatoly Line in an open, and I was relatively lower rated, and I guess I was like playing him a really tough game, and it just reminded me, what he said reminded me of Nike. He was like, I had a friend watching the game, and he was getting too close to the board or something, and so Anatoly Line was like, just don't. And I was thinking, yeah, that's very similar to just do it. You know, he's like, just switches it around and makes it just don't. But the irony was that Anatoly Line and I played an exchange Queen's Gambit. That's why it's coming up. But I was white. The story is just, they just, you know, just don't play h6. Not in this structure. I don't like it, you know. It's a move. It's a lame move. I don't understand it. What we want to do is play rook e8 here. This is the professional move, I think. We're kind of waiting to see what white's going to do, because he has two options. He can try to castle queenside, or he can try to castle kingside. Rook e8 is going to be useful in every scenario, but we don't want to play c6. See, c6 is like a main line, but there's no need to commit to that yet. What you want to do is play rook e8 and keep your options open, because if he goes whole hog with the castle's queenside, we might be able to hit him with c5 in one go. Move 11 said, once the knight goes to f8, then queen c2 threatens bishop takes f6. Well, no, but I mean, our knight on f8 is going to be protecting h7, right? I mean, that's over protection. So we don't need to play h6. You know, we're playing knight f8. Let's see, queen c2, knight f8, man, this is main line. You know, we have no problems here. This is the main line recommended in a lot of books. I think that black can play a setup like bishop e6. If you're going to try to castle queenside, the traditional plan for black was to like ram the a pawn down, but I think that's been discovered as kind of caveman and not that effective. What black really ought to do is to play something like bishop e6 and then rook c8, and we're going to try to do is turn the c file against white. We're going to play like for c5 and liven the play there, maybe expose his king and queen on the c file. So I wholeheartedly don't like h6. You know, while it's a playable move. The top game is this Polish guy. I thought this was, I was pretty sure this guy is like a correspondence player, but that's a live game. That's Krasinkov. So I guess this Sapkowska, no, that's a woman, huh? There's a Polish correspondence player who's very strong with a similar name, but this is a woman. But who's here? Look who's playing black. Sapkowska, some guy I've never heard of. You know, another guy I never heard of, and another guy I never heard of. You know, so h6 just isn't a good move. You got to play, and I don't like c6. You got to play rook e8. That's where the pro money is on rook e8. Apparently, people who played b6. I've never seen that done. Is anyone real playing b6? Rizuk, Fatachnik played b6, but nobody special other than him. Now, b6 is kind of weird. I mean, I guess it's a move. It may be a move. I don't really like Fatachnik as a person, but if he, you know, he is strong, and he knows a lot of theory. Okay, b6. Yeah, but rook e8, that's what you got to do. Anyway, okay. Anyway, moving on. We had what happened. This is game analysis. This is analysis line. h6, don't like it. Bishop h4, and now rook e8. You see, the thing is, move 11, you've kind of weakened your king side a little bit. I don't like it. But maybe white also, you know, maybe white is playing kind of conservatively. Looks like everyone castled kingside. What happens if he tries to do like queen c2 and castle queenside? Not really sure. Of course, you have conserved on c6, so you might be able to play c5. Wow, what just happened? Okay, I just went to the wrong game. We were here. And I'm saying, like, what happens if knight h doesn't castle kingside, but he tries to be friskier and play sharper? You may be able to play c5. Someone actually played that. Crazy, but maybe it's not that bad to do this kind of It looks like floor against Capablanca or something. Rook d1, isolated pawn, but we can defend our one weakness and draw the game. It's actually maybe not that bad. What's up? Jorian Ray. It's like Dorian Gray. So, good short story. Okay, so Knight H Castle's kingside. Anyway, guys, backstory. This is a live simul game. Our subscriber Move 11 played with the black pieces against Grandmaster Arkady Knight in a simultaneous. Knight is white. He's rated around 2700. Okay, standard minority attack, a5. You know, a5 is debatable. I don't have a problem with a5. You're gonna do the normal stuff like c6 and yep. So here we are. You know, this looks like it could even transpose to some kind of known game. There you go. There it is. There's some actual games. Paul Littlewood. Simon Buckley. I played a Graham Buckley. They may be related. Littlewood is in English. I am. Istvan Piroshka. Hungarian FM. I beat him in the Budapest Team Championship this year. And that's the dude I drew with. Alright, anyway. a5, a3. This is standard sort of position. Again, I don't like h6, but Move 11 plays knight h5, and this is one of the only ways that we can justify h6. He does get to swap off of set pieces here. I guess I kind of agree with this move. Move 11's favorite move of the day, knight h5. Bishop takes e7, queen takes e7. White's slightly better. This was kind of a weird moment, Move 11. I mean, I never saw anyone not take on b4 in this sort of structure. It's pretty strange. You're thinking outside the box, but it's sort of like an automatic capture. You know, oh, I opened the a file for my rook, but why? Why do you have to take on b4? It's a good question. It's a kind of thankless position for black, though, with very basically no winning chances. You can only just draw. Bishop e6 here. And then he's really delaying capturing there. Well, your knight is misplaced on h5. Is going to have to come back. Anyway, guys, let's... Knight e4 I didn't consider either. No, I don't know how Knight's situation was, how many games he was playing, but this kind of idea, you know, here Move 11 went kind of berserk. I mean, this kind of idea, dude, you need to think about this at all times. You absolutely must think about this at all times. If you can play b5, and you can play knight d7, knight b6, knight c4, it's basically like shutting down the queen side, and you're okay. So, you've got to very seriously consider this option. And if you can execute, your knight's on h5, it's weird. If you can execute the knight to c4, like Kasparov would do in like a bishop g5 Grunfeld or something against Sarawan, you're probably okay. Consider b5 strongly, but this is crazy. Like, you were out there with queen g5. I mean, I don't think you have any realistic threats. I thought this was, you're absolutely out on a limb here with no attacking chances. You've been watching too many too many like Nesbedinov games or something. Like, next Move 11 is going to be like playing knight g6, knight h4, and then his attack might almost have a threat. Nesbedinov, a wild attacking player who actually played the black side of these sometimes for a win. Ironically, in a way, Move 11's right, because the structural distribution of the pawns does allow for black play on the king side, white play on the queen side. It is kind of a normal theme. But I think with that knight coming to g3, you like never have any threats, you know? One gets the feeling that like Knight kind of farted around a little too much, and black is basically okay now. And I don't know about knight d7. He's heading for c4. I'm just thinking, again, b5. Very, very clear plan if you can get a knight to c4. e6 is a better square for the knight. in general. Something to think about there. B5, move 11. That looks like something you need to put into your... B5 is something you got to incorporate into your repertoire of ideas. Anyway, let's see what happens. So, according to the engine, black was actually better. Whoa. Okay. It looks like move 11 has mating threats with knight g4 and queen h5. Now he played b5. It's okay. And he just takes on c5. This is a tough one, though. Do you go here? Here? Or do you go here and then try to checkmate Grandmaster Knightich with like knight to g4? This was the key moment. Unfortunately, move 11 just let him get this kind of grimy slight advantage. And you just don't want to be in this ultra technical situation against anybody of that level. You know, it's really like 2,700 grandmasters live for this situation where there's no losing chances with a 0.1 advantage. Yeah, this is when I knew it was a bad situation here when I saw this game the first time. Black can draw, but it's awkward, it's hard. I'd probably lose as well against Magnus Carlsen. He just slowly improves. You know, f5 though, I like the way that move 11 like, you know, creates kind of counterplay here. f5's risky, it weakens his king, but it's probably necessary. And this should be a draw, objectively. He's moving back and forth. This move was a little over the top. I mean, h5 was like, wow, even the engine wants to play that, but I thought just maintain the status quo. Wow, that's top move according to Stockfish. Move 11 looking for counterplay with h4. If you can get it in, h4, you're guaranteed to get an h4. I like it. If you can't get an h4, then it feels like a weakening. He played two moves that were engine moves. h5 and king h7. And now apparently, that's a hard move to find though. I mean, queen d8. h4 is possible. How does that work? That's pure tactics. h4 takes queen e7. How does this work? h4 takes queen e7. Let's say g3, obviously. Oh, that's just hanging. So that's a really nasty combination. Move 11, how was your time? Like, was there time involved here? You had to make a move when he came to the board. Was that it? That's a bad time control for you, probably. Move 11, like everyone else had like already resigned, and move 11 was probably like forced to move real fast now. 3 passes. I have the feeling that he was forced to move a little fast. Now Knightich is like squeezing him. But a really credible game by move 11 here. He's still hanging on after like 40 moves. This looks weakening too. Like, I'd rather not move any pawns if it's possible. Can we play like queen g6? Oh, that's hanging a rook. Okay, never mind. Well, the less pawn moves, the better, would be my motto here. Alright. Man, this is tough. And then the poor guy, like, walked into the stupidest trap here. Rook d7. That's awkward. I mean, it's easy to miss this. It's such a silly way to lose a rook. Isn't that brutal? You just allow queen e5 check and it just wins a rook. Anyway, man, tough game. Really well played. Congrats on a really a good fight, you know, against a top-notch grandmaster. So he lost. He has to resign here. Sadly. I mean, he's fighting an uphill battle for a draw here. But it was a good game. Alright, guys, let's play another game. Troll in a Roll, Chess 960, just for fun. Then I'm going to go back to do the rest of the subscriber games, subscriber game analysis. I don't think I'm going to get in more games. I think we're going to have to focus on the game analysis. But I want to do one more here. Troll, are you still a subscriber? If you're not a subscriber, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be really mad. You better resubscribe. soon. If I took time out from the subscriber stream to play you chess 960. What am I doing? I'm like thinking it's normal chess. Just a little entertainment here, guys. Great game, Move 11. I mean, especially with someone, you know, for someone who's got limited experience in that exchange Queen's Gambit, you know, you did credibly. Nidich is good. You know, he's just a really strong all-around grandmaster, but I think he's especially good in kind of technique. And like, you know, that wasn't going to be easy. Troll in a Rule said, I'll subscribe once you become a GM. Oh, man, that's this. All right, Troll. I'll play you another game once you become a National Master. How about that? We'll call it like that, all right? This will be like Troll's last game until he becomes a National Master. Or LM on lichess. I'll even let you be an LM on lichess. That's really disrespectful. All right, I'm just going to abort the game. Actually, yeah, that's really rude. I'm just going to resign. It's just not cool, dude. All right, let's go back to play someone else. I got other people that are more respectful that'll play, and they're subscribers. So let's play Nefyadov. All right. Not nice, dude. Just not nice. Okay, we're going to play Nefyadov here. Yeah, you're right. That's really this, dude. It's not funny, and it's just insulting. All right, Sparkle Horse against Nefyadov. Let's play a little Knight F3. All right. Now, last time we met Nefyadov, we were playing a Slav, but I want to play a faster game anyway. 5+3 is cool. Then we can get back to the subscriber game analysis. So, I don't know. Nefyadov's playing a lot of G6 lately. Now, that was just really mean. I don't know what came over him, but that wasn't nice. I don't like E5. I have to play D4 here. Troll is like not a subscriber. I was going to take the challenge, but then he types in like a mean comment about I'll be a subscriber when you're a grandmaster. All right, man. Whatever. It's just not cool. All right, I'm going to try this. I don't know anything about Queen B3. I don't know anything about Queen B3. But it feels like I'm sick of playing C takes D and these lines of the symmetrical Fianchetto Grunfeld. Problem is I don't really know any theory here at all. Okay, this move looks logical. Analyze our game with the Grandmaster, Troll. You should analyze our game with the Grandmaster. Find your local Grandmaster. So A takes B3. Queen B3 is mud jam. What is mud jam? It's a move that's more constructive than C takes D. I mean, I've been just accepting this move for years since I was, you don't know, like, I mean, I've been playing like C takes D since I was maybe 1700. But if you think about it logically, I mean, after C6, this move, it doesn't really make sense to give away a C4 pawn for a C6 pawn. How is that beneficial for white? It's like playing the exchange Slav, you know? Why should I play the exchange Slav? I have a stronger pawn than you. Why should I trade it? You know, it doesn't make sense, really logically. I don't know what I should do here. I mean, bishop G5 puts pressure on the D5 pawn. But he could play knight E4. It's a crazy line. Bishop G5, knight E4. I don't think that's going to work. Just play a logical developing move. Because I'm going to leave the stream for just a moment. I want to see. There's this huge noise outside. I live in a place where there's a lot of landscaping, and I'm glad you guys can't hear it because it's outrageously loud. But I have the window closed. You can't hear the lawnmower just outside. It's not in my house, but across the street. Crazy loud. People are like obsessed with landscaping. They don't realize that people are dying in war-torn countries, and the only thing they think about is like mowing their lawns. The GM just fell for a tactic. Yes, S4 always plays craziness. But Turkey Farm, you're talking about your game? H6. Preventing bishop g5. No, I already moved my bishop. It's hard to do anything with white here, admittedly. Don't play e3. That would be my recommendation to those of you playing the white pieces here. We don't want to play e3 anytime soon. Guys, mostly I'm focusing on game analysis. But we took a little time out to play a blitz game or two. I'm going to go back to the subscriber games. We're going to do JCS next, Acerbate, S4, Nefedov, and Bob. I smell blood in the water. Now it's interesting. Nefedov, if we get him at the right time, maybe we can tactically get him. He's been a little weak tactically the last couple games. Nefedov made some uncharacteristic mistakes. It's very important that he can't access the b8 square for his rooks here. Now, obviously, c4 is hanging. The deep player that I am, I did see this, but I was planning on rook takes c6 after recapturing on c4. I'm just checking to make sure that we don't have better. But this looks right. B takes c4, bishop takes c4, rook takes c6, and we're up a pawn, and I like being up a pawn. Pawns are good. Especially central pawns, like the one on d4, the unopposed extra pawn. This is a champion here. We want that pawn to stay and win the game for us. Very straightforward type of position now. Should I consider... Let's see. If I just play rook a1, he chops. Rook c8, d5. At the end of the day, yeah, I guess we just chop and go rook a1. We win a pawn, and maybe we threaten to win a second pawn. If we're lucky. And our pieces are good. Sparkle Horse is streaming. Guys, please support the stream. Let's get some donations, bits donations, donations on PayPal. Help support the stream, guys. Don't make mean comments in the chat. Don't make the future Grandmaster angry. Rook a1. Don't be mean. Yeah, he found a6. Man, that's annoying. Okay. If bishop there, I have that problem. I have rook a4. It's a weird move, but somehow effective. What is the threat? Flash tactics. This move can't be the best move. I ought to play something simpler. Bishop b7, rook d8, bishop takes a6, rook a1, hasta la vista, baby. I could lose a piece. That's not even funny. Losing a piece would be bad. How often do you play players at your level or higher? Well, what are we talking about? Like over the board or on lichess.org? On lichess, almost never. In real life, I often do. Okay, bishop b5. In the real world, I actually play strong players. Not as strong as I would like, though, the last year, I have to say. I've been a little bit... Oh, I've got that covered, actually. Wow. I forgot C1 was covered. So we got this very sweet little ending. Maybe I should go for the pawn, huh? Rook A8. Merle Dixon, thanks for the cheer. But this past year, I was playing like third or fourth board for my Hungarian team championship team, and I was kind of disappointed by that. I mean, in the past, I had been board 1 or 2, so I got to play like much weaker players than I was used to. It's not good for me. I have a lot of draws. I'm a very, very solid player lately, and it's not really good for me to play like 2200s. I mean, I would be better off playing 2400s and making mostly draws and gaining rating points. Like recent tournaments, I haven't played strong enough players. I'd be much better off playing stronger players. But on lichess, everyone plays bullet, you know, like, who am I going to play, you know? Moving toward the center, let's play bishop here. Well, I mean, if I can get my king over and eat that pawn, it's game over. We're just up a clear pawn, and I think the b pawn is weak as well. So black is lost here. The only counterplay he has is like knight g4. Not particularly effective right now. Not even a move at the moment. Now we have a little technical problem. I was careless with king f1. So now it's going to take some work again. He has 2 threats. Now I could lose on bishop e4. I have to be very, very careful. Whew, this is kind of awkward. Bishop f3. Knight c4, b3. I'm just dropping the pawn. Oh no. You're kidding me. Now Nefedov is going to save the game. Absolutely swindled me. Because of king f1? Gotta be kidding me. He's offering me a draw. No. No draw. Why would I take a draw here, Nefedov? I mean, like, I can't lose. You might lose the pawn, you know. I'd have to be out of my mind. Like, why would anyone take a draw here? Alright. Only black can lose this. I mean, unless I do something moronic, which isn't that out of the realm of possibility. His knight is pretty dominated. Knight's not particularly good at stopping, you know, outside, or even promoting outside pawns, for that matter. And Nefedov putting a lot of pawns on the wrong color. Almost helpmating himself. He has a number of pawns on white squares. He's flirting with danger. Now f4, you're banned. You're banned from the center. Now I have created a lot of weaknesses. The problem is I may not be able to make progress easily here. Fixing his pawns on the white squares, very important. Okay, now, how do we do this? This looks good for white. Let's first go here. Maybe f5. All right. Tough position. Well, he's about to lose to bishop d5 or not. I'm not sure. This still might be a draw. It still might be a draw. But I don't. It makes me angry when people offer draws, you know, in slightly worse positions. Like he's entitled to a draw. It's still a draw, apparently. b2. Actually, he's got a couple moves. But there's no way I would ever accept a draw in that position when he offered a draw in a tournament game. Like, why would I accept one in a blitz game? Even if it was like a higher rated player, I would think long and hard about accepting his draw there. I mean, I have no risk, you know. There's many ways that Black could have lost this. Actually, Nefedov defended pretty well. All right, let's go on to the game analysis, guys. So, we've got JCS next. Actually, it's right there. I'm going to grab this from JCS. Game analysis, I was white. JCS versus Just Vinnick. I love declining Nefedov's draw offers. Too many draws, man. Draws are evil. So, kapow! Thank you for the bit donation, Merle Dixon. Now, the bit leader for the week. Be noted, Merle Dixon is now the bit leader for the week, as I almost spilled my iced tea. Drink number 3. Okay, guys, let's get to these games. We've got a bunch of games to go over. No more blitz for now, I think. We're going to chill with the blitz challenges. I mean, I think the number one reason here to play knight f3 is if you're going to play the Catalan. There's another move like knight f6, bishop g5, which Dreyev played in a game. He actually won a game with that in Cuba. Alexei Dreyev, friend of mine, finished second to Shankland in the Capablanca Memorial. Oh, c5. We love to see the Tarash. It's probably like one of my favorite openings to play against. C takes d5. There's no semi-Tarash here. There's the Henning Shara Gambit. It's not exactly. Okay, e takes d, g3. G3 is good. I mean, this is actually a very accurate move order. You know, it's actually, I think, more accurate to play g3 than to play knight c3. So, very good move order by JCS. There's no reason to rush with knight c3. And theoretically, like, Black's supposed to play knight c6. Like, look at the difference. 1578 with knight c6, and then like 500 with, or 400 with knight f6. Slightly inaccurate move. I don't know that there's any way to take advantage of it, though. It's kind of funny. Bishop g2. See, now you can just castle and pretend it's the Panov. But I don't think there's any reason you have to delay the recapture of this pawn. Look at Stockfish. It's like, oh, flip a coin. But if you play knight takes d4, he could try some weird stuff with like bishop to b4. Just technically. Bob Sakamoto with, what, 200? 300. Oh my god, where's the other 100? He already had 100. He made it 300. Thank you, Bob. Very generous donation, man. We've got Bob's game coming up. We're going to move Bob up the list after that donation. Anyway, all right. He takes back. Nothing wrong with castling kingside here. That pawn's not going anywhere. It's a Panov Bafenik with an extra tempo. Anyway, it's not even a sacrifice. It's double attacked. So he could have played bishop b4 check novelty. Not dangerous though. Anyway. All right. We're splitting hairs here. Bishop c5. That's an active move. But I think it's risky. You know, is Black justified in doing that? Okay, so here, JCS, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't like to play knight b3 if I don't have to play it or I don't have a good reason to play it. But maybe you have a good reason to play it. I mean, maybe you're just turning the pressure onto the d5 pawn. If it was a blitz game, I would just instantly play knight c3. Um, guys, there's a saying, a very, very general saying. Of course, anyone who speaks English knows this. The threat is stronger than the execution. And I think that we can implement this very often in chess. So it's like, JCS is doing the execution with knight b3. But sometimes it's better to keep your options open. I don't know. Anyway, philosophical question here. Knight b3. Aggressive move by black, bishop b6. The safe retreat is back on e7. But I think he now, having said A, we say another very, very common word. Okay. Oh, no. No. We have this one of those red buttons. Do you guys see that in novelty stores? It says no on it with like a red sign. You press it and it's like, no. I should go get it. It's in the other room. Wait, maybe I'll get it. All right. All right, I had to do this just for fun. We never have enough fun. This is the red button. You guys see that? No. The no button. All right. So when we see a move that we don't like, we press the button. You guys ready?
No.
Okay. No. There's no knight d2 because this square, it's like you're taking 2 moves to get your knight out to d2. Knight d2, knight f3. We got the sweet square c3 for the knight. And if you don't like knight c3, you even have another strong move in bishop g5, probably. So here's where we went wrong. Playing knight to d2. You're just taking too much time to get your pieces out. Knight c3, it's absolutely the best move. Chess is an easy game. It's like math, 2 plus 2 equals 4. This is clearly a mistake. Knight d2 should be avoided. Oh, wow. The computer says it too. I mean, still structurally white is better, but you don't have that best square for your knight on c3. So bishop g4, active development, and a h3. Okay, h3 weakens the structure. This is a 10-0 rated. JCS has a very low rating there, provisional. Bishop h5, knight f3. Yeah, I'm not really happy with what happened here. Our kingside got weakened. It took us 2 moves to get our knight out. Black has like absolute control of e4. It feels like we're black and we weakened our kingside with like h3 when we didn't necessarily have to. So we've gone from being white to being black, basically. And then g4. Weakening our kingside even more. It's the Grob. Maybe we can get away with this, but I'm not in love with it. I'll tell you guys right now. Bishop g6, more weakening, and then knight d4. Not developing any pieces. Not developing pieces. That's a problem. Knight d4, we're just not developing any pieces. Rook e8, this guy, I like the way that black plays. He's just all business. It was a little over the top, bishop c5, bishop b6, but this is please sacrifice an exchange on e3. But, it may not work. Morozevich would like rip this off in a matter of seconds, probably. I mean, you gotta beat Morozevich to do something like this, but I saw Svindler do an exchange sacrifice like this in the New York Open once. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. You can just bring pressure down. The dark squares are extremely weak. Like an intuitive sort of sacrifice. And the other thing is that the knight can go in, well, let's say e5 to c4, which is a very standard Tarrasch maneuver. This is a nightmare, man. I mean, this could really be deadly. But most players won't have the courage to sacrifice an exchange, a positional exchange sacrifice like rook takes e3, which is just long term. The other thing is he can turn you out with something like bishop c7, queen d6, and hello. h2 is almost a mate. There's h5. So this was really Not one of JCS's better games. He's capable of playing really well, but this game he's not in good form. Okay. H6. Now he's trading pieces, creating hanging pawns, strengthening black structure, but trading pieces, I actually don't mind. I had a position the other day in my Sima last week on Sunday where I was black, push the pawns back on G3 and H2, and do something like bishop takes B6, and it's like only a little bit better for black. This is a very temporary situation. Unstable. Black has total domination of the E4 square, control of the E file. There's H5. It looks awful for white. And black goes for that, but without queen d6, it's kind of like, well, does that make a whole lot of sense? That's a nice idea, but seriously, I mean, does this make sense if he can't get to d6? I like pointing the bishop at the king side, but maybe we can do, a 3-move plan. Like, what are we going to do? This? Anyway, E3, bishop E4. So knight E4 more natural, of course, hitting the bishop on C5. Man, yeah, I mean, JCS is really lucky he won this game, because this was ugly. Now he finally develops, no, he played F3. I thought we were going to see rook C1 here. F3... It's not that bad. It's not that bad, but it's an extremely dangerous diagonal there. I mean, I don't mind F3. I'd rather our pawns were like on H2 and G2. I've done this kind of F3 in many games, but... Okay. What about this pawn? Tactical defense with knight takes C6. Here. Okay. And like, okay, there's only one chance that black can land a queen on H2. But JCS starts to take over. You see the graph here. It gets all white after a while. So he's kind of consolidated after a very poorly played opening. This is a good move. The B4 is okay. B4 is okay. I don't know what to do. Rook C3. This is actually crafty. He's defending and attacking at the same time. I like Rook C3. Black... Okay. I mean, if you're going to play like a bishop move, wouldn't it be bishop b8 in this position? Like to play queen c7. Front-loaded queen going to h2. Bishop g3, a rather strange move. So basically black has no plan after playing the opening well. Yeah. He is so awkward. I mean, bishop h4. And then f4. He was concerned about what? Bishop g5. But JCS... weakening that e4 square, man. You can't afford any more weaknesses. This was bad. This was really, really bad. He jumps the knight in. And now those bishops look extremely unpleasant. And the white king side is not safe. So black's back in the game. Now white, I think, is on the defensive again, except you've got pressure against c6. But even if you win c6, how deadly is that? He still has compensation. I mean, you've got to watch out for h5. There's no way to guard the white squares. If he plays rook c8 here, black's still okay. He just basically lets you bust through with rook takes c6, and then white's better again. Weaknesses aren't weaknesses, unless they can be attacked. And these are potential weaknesses all around here. But if black doesn't attack them successfully, they're not weaknesses. He's trying with h5, but it's too late. It's just too late. What's up, Clash Kid? G5, keeping the king side closed. But man, I mean, you were walking a tightrope in this game. You were really, really in a bad position, and black kind of farted around. Ooh, B5's even dangerous though. Oh, you're on the queen. Okay, you're on the queen. I didn't notice. So he got A4, and then B6. Oh man. So just no counterplay, no way to get in there, and white's just winning with the outside pawn, and he went to win. How many more moves here? He trades. He sacked a piece. What? He just goes nuts, and bishop takes f4. But You know, he can defend his bishop with something like h4 and try to survive, but white's going to win with the pass pawn. Anyway, okay, instructive game.
For the last time, no.
All right, that's what we say about... I got to take this button back to Budapest. That's what we say about knight to d2. Be consistent in the opening. The pieces have to come out like world champion Alyoshin. I mean, they should all come out to their best squares. There's just a right and wrong. You know, this is not a matter. This is not a question. This is like an answer. I mean, knight c3 has to be the square for the knight. It's the best square. The question of maybe bishop g5 first, though, is an interesting one. Bishop g5 first is another way of pressurizing like the d5 pawn. You might want to consider playing that first. Okay, guys, let's go on to the next game. I don't think I'm going to take any more blitz games. We've got Acerbate up next, and then S4. I can't wait to see the S4 game. All right, where is Acerbate? Bishop's opening Berlin defense. This is a short one. Nice to see a short one. Usually you guys submit like 80 move games. No more 80 move games. We need a button too. We can get a button emote. You know, let's get the no button. Isn't there a no button emote? Yeah, anyway, JCS. The opening is the only place where it's easy to play perfectly. You know, we can basically find the right moves on our own fairly easily if we really adhere to principles. And games are a little harder, and middle game is impossible. You know, so we've got to play the opening well, and we can do it. You know, human logic, we can find the best moves. But 92 is bad. Okay, Acerbate, let's load this up to a bigger board. Once again, thanks Bob and Merle Dixon for the bit donations. You guys are great. Everybody could just support the stream a little bit every week. We can keep it going. There it is. There you go. That's the nay. Nay, does that count? No. No more knight d2, okay? Just develop the piece to the center on its best square. Chess is very easy. Acerbate is white here. Request a computer analysis. I don't need a computer analysis. All right. I think that Acerbate has been improving a lot since joining the stream. He's playing bishop c4, bishop's opening. Cool. And d3. Michael Adams, a player who played a lot of bishop's opening, for example. You can also transpose to Joko Piano. I don't have a yes button. I'll have to find one, all right? Just to reward the players who find the right moves. Okay, d5. You see, now this is the typical kind of move that you'll see from like lesser, not so experienced players. Let's look at the statistics here. Actually, when Noctronxon played this against, Adibon, wow. I didn't know that this was like even a good move for black. I thought it was kind of regarded as semi-dubious. I've been the few times I've been black always played c6. I mean, bishop c5 is like a classical move. It's perfectly fine. But c6 is something like one of the main lines. Knight c6, okay, we also, that's a totally classical move. But d5 right away, wow. So look at the track record here. Tronxon, player I have a lot of experience against, and Shirov with one game. David Marciano, and then Facundo Pierrot, another player I know. So e takes d5. We got to take it. In the early thing, it almost looks like we're going to get some kind of fried liver type of stuff going on against f7 if black's not careful here. But Tronxon actually beat Adibon in 2017. Okay, these guys must have been early 2017. These guys are heavyweights, young heavyweights. Let's see, Acerbate played knight f3. That's good. And then black goes bishop g4. Oh no. That move just feels wrong on principle. That just feels wrong on principle. If I rake you guys over the coals, it's because I care about you and I want you to get better. It's like the coach. It's like the high school sports coach. He's raking over the coals, but he means the best. Bishop g4 feels wrong. Why? Because black has concrete weaknesses on the white squares. It's also there's this little saying called knights before bishops. I don't mind Acerbate's move. Here we go again.
No.
No. Passive. Knight d2 is passive. And that's the same move that we got angry about last game. We'll play knight d2 if we have nothing better, but knight d2 is testosterone. I don't know if we're going to get to any more games. We have a really long list today. We'll just call him chess T. But, I mean, knight d2, okay, worst comes to worst. That's our move. But it feels like we've got to have better here. First question. Let's just play the obvious, right? Like h3, bishop h5, g4. Nefedov did this against me. This is just winning a pawn, isn't it? Like knight takes g6. Knight takes e5. No, this is over. The first thing you have to analyze are forced moves. We just simply take here. Knight d2 is always bad, unless it's the Tarrasch French. But look here, Acerbate. This pawn is hanging, and if you call his bluff here, bishop h5 loses to g4. I mean, sometimes such a move can... Look at this position. I had this against Nefedov. Okay? e4, e5. Let's make this fast, guys. Nefedov played this against me, and I didn't know the theory well enough. Long ago, it was an exchange Roy Lopez. This variation is well known. Take, take. Not enough to me, of course. Castles, bishop g4. But Nefedov here played the h3, bishop h5, g4, bishop g6, knight takes e5. Now, compare the position and think about it. Okay? I mean, this is a lot riskier for white because the king side is like weakened. White doesn't have a white squared bishop. This is a totally different situation where black should have compensation. I didn't know the theory and I played something dumb here like h5. I mean, it's just stupid. It was a bad move, but I do have enough counterplay if I find the right idea here. But if we look at Acerbate's position, look at the forcing moves, guys. Always forcing moves first, especially in open positions like this. Knight f3, bishop g4, h3. He's got to like take, right? Takes, queen takes, and then there's f7. And now like c6 is only move. And then you have knight c3, and maybe black's just losing. Well, he has bishop b4, right? Knight c3, bishop b4. He's lucky he's not losing by force here. White has two raking bishops toward the king side, and I'm not going to say this is a winning position, but it's very, very unpleasant for black. So, what's that? Saul got a draw against Grandmaster. Nice job. So, okay. Anyway, enough about knight d2. We're not going to spend the whole game on this. So here, white has tactic, bishop takes f7 check. But sometimes we give our opponents credit when we shouldn't. So Acerbate misses his chance. He sees his g2 hanging, so there's no chance for the mates against the black king here with this bishop not coming out to g5. No knight on c3. All right, you should play bishop takes f7, but you didn't, and now you still have it. This is a tactic you should see, Acerbate. Bishop takes f7 and knight takes e5 check. This is one, any kind of tactics with bishop takes f7, you should definitely see. If you don't see it the first move, you should see it the second move. Now knight e4 though, he's focusing on development. He's not looking enough for tactics. Still his moves aren't bad. Black plays this crazy move now, bishop d4. Bishops are distance pieces. He should go to b6 or d6. Goes here, c3, and guess what? Now we have like Evans' Gambit. He's going to be sorry that he has a bishop on g4 right about now. And now he saw it. Bishop takes f7. Yep, you can fool me once, fool me twice, but you can't fool Acerbate 3 times. You can't fool him 3 times. He got it on the 3rd try. And now you're just roasting the guy's king in the middle of the board. Plus, you're not even having to sacrifice any material. The engine says, oh, wow, he goes for the mate. The greedy player like me would play like knight takes g4. The lazy, greedy player. But Acerbate goes for the gusto here. But it's so strong. I mean, if it's not mate, we're just simply winning all sorts of material. King takes e5, bishop takes f4, check, king d5. There it feels like there should be a mate, but it's going to be a little hard to get him on c6. Apparently there is a mate. c4, king c6, queen e6, check, queen d6. He found it. Nice job. And the mate. And there's no check here. So you have only a mate and 6. Bishop takes d6. Absolutely. And mate. Nice job. Okay, you're going the right direction. You just need a little bit to kind of sharpen it up, Asterbate. Sharpen it up. You have bishop takes f7 a little earlier there. Knight d2. No, knight d2 is too passive. You're blocking the bishop on c1. We want to put our knight on a more aggressive square. If we can go to c3, we prefer to put the knight on c3. All right. Let's move on to the next game analysis. What do we got? S4. Actually, S4 just finished his simul game. Where is S4? Actually, S4 sent it the other day. So, once again, guys, thanks for the... It's nice to have a little, like, yeah, some props here for the stream. I don't have enough props. I need more props. Guys, you guys have any interesting prop ideas? I'll order it from Amazon. Or just send it over. Okay, S4 1 2 3 3 4 1. Let's check this out. Interesting game. It's only 80 moves. 46. That's a short game for S4. Oh, this must be the same guy he played again today. Okay. This was played 2 days ago. Look at the graph. That looks like one of my games with S4. Oh my god. It's a nightmare graph. It's all black, and it's like cavernous at the bottom. At the end there, it's like -12. Man, this guy must have played well. 84 cent upon loss for S4 and 72 for the Grandmaster. Yeah, that's what S4 does. He plays crazy stuff. So, now somewhere I heard, guys, and I haven't seen it myself, but apparently Yevgeny Sveshnikov has actually written a book or some article or books about resuscitating this line. Sveshnikov's promoted the idea that d5 is not a big deal, white's still okay, and that might be the case. I had an interesting game the other day. Actually, I had an interesting game with S4 in this, and I had another supplementary blitz game, this tile gambit or whatever. It is probably black's best line, but white isn't worse. It's probably close. The world of beers. You can get me drunk and make me do crazy things. Alright, d5. Who needs props? So, S4 against Chess Coach. He's not interested in the tile gambit. He's going into mainstream stuff here. Kamran Shirazi against Vladimir Gergiev. That was almost certainly played in France. Post Shirazi had left the United States. Alright. But you kind of wonder about bishop e5. I mean, it seems even better than usual here. There's no bishop on g7. I guess it doesn't matter that much, but alright. Whatever. So, very classical setup by black. Stopping d5. Now we have a problem. We have a problem with d5 c4, so Salt plays e5, but this is like a holy move, you know. There's a lot of holes, and it seems inflexible. d3's got to be a better move. And the other move is queen e1, which tactically stops d5, and it also promotes the old queen h4 type of stuff. So theoretically, he's confusing black with the weird e5, and he played something similar against me, but he should play d3 or queen e1. Okay, so e5. Now we can do this d5, pawn takes pawn, knight f5, which I've played countless games with black. Let's see if he does that. Actually, I mean, some people might even argue for d6 here. You might argue that this move is... Gelfand played it. It must be good. But there's something less forcing about this. Apparently white can play knight e4. I don't know. Sacking a pawn, Spassky style. So, anyway, this is more forcing. And now, oh no. Well, that's going to confuse the Grandmaster and most people. So Saul just goes berserk. Okay, I mean, 99 out of 100 players play ED here, and I like knight f5 here. Um, I learned this trick long ago. It might be slightly more accurate than taking with the queen on d6. You give yourself the option to take with the knight on d6. The pawn's not going anywhere, and there's also the very good control of d4. Um, all right. Yeah, but this is just totally maniacal. He sacks a piece with knight b5. He did the sack against me the other day. He sacked a piece in, well, yesterday's stream. Well, it was yesterday's stream, right? This is just crazy. All right. I mean, this isn't sound, but it's a practical sacrifice. I mean, white has what? A pawn for a piece? I mean, this is totally insane. Knight g5. What else? And now we can get back a little bit of material with knight takes f7. Interesting. You put a grandmaster. I don't know who this guy is, but there are many levels of grandmasters. Some that are my strength, some that are world champions, some that are in between. But anyway, okay, b5. He's just naturally like the computer plays crazy stuff. I mean, f5 does seem to appeal to me. Rather than f6, which doesn't close the position, I like the idea of playing f5, which would lock the king side. And then, you know, if you go in with knight f7, I mean, at least the f file is closed. And so, you know, we could play something like this, give you the rook, we'll take that, you'll take another pawn, no you can't. Well, can you take the pawn with knight takes c4? You know, this sort of situation, black is much better, white's backpedaling, and black should slowly be able to win with his material advantage. I mean, I like f5. The engine claims that f6 is the best move, but in terms of practicality, I think trying to lock the king side would be better. I'm not going to play this ever. Knight takes b5. What? So knight takes f7. The problem with this is first of all, he gets your f pawn. I mean, you get his f pawn, and that means his king safety is going to be kind of compromised slightly more than it would be if you played f5. Plus, you get the rook, you know, and now it's like you have legitimate compensation. So in one move, he went wrong. Takes, and then g4. Playing for f5 is logical with that king on f8, and I mean, there is a case to be made for a4, the computer move. I mean, breaking up his structure, if you think about it like it's like a semi-Slav or something. If we start playing positionally, that looks like what black started to do. He must be a semi-Slav player, because look what he does, like b5, queen b6. Grandmaster X is playing the semi-Slav here. But a4 breaks him up, so that's a strong plan as well. But there are some developmental issues for white here. He gets away temporarily. I mean, you know that Saul wants to play f5. But he'll drop his e5 pawn and possibly like jeopardize the knight on d6, and plus his development. By the way, Saul, I don't know if I didn't see the game, but if you get an a4, I don't know, maybe he should sack a pawn. You see, that's the best line. Sack a pawn here, b4. Because if he doesn't, I don't know what he's going to play. Like, actually, there isn't really another good move. But I'm just saying, like, you get this rook lift in. I mean, it could be curtains for black. That looks very, very dangerous. So anyway, some good entertainment here, as always, by Saul. So we're starting to threaten very primitive caveman-like stuff. I prefer a4. I don't like that your pieces are not developed. You already sacrificed material, and you're going to need to use your pieces. You're not developing any stuff here with knight e4. Yeah, still not developing. This is apparently really bad according to the engine. But you've got to get your pieces out. I mean, d3 looks good. I think that he was worried about black playing c4, honestly. Most likely white was thinking, okay, This line's hard to find. It's a computer line. I mean, I would want to play d3 in principle, but he's concerned about d3. He probably looked at this, like take, and black playing c4, and then rejected it. You know, I'm assuming like this was what he didn't like. You know, getting counterplay for black with this pawn coming down. So yeah, it's not easy if you're not a computer, but I don't like the fact that he's not developed. The a4 would have been a useful move too. Black just stops the concrete threats with h6. And then knight f6 check. Man, in total chaos. Absolute chaos. Knight d4, rook h3. I was considering rook f2 here. Because we geometrically dominate the knight on d4. I'm scared of stuff like knight e2 check, knight takes f4 might be coming. But rook h3 is primitive and effective. You gotta argue that that's quite interesting. And Grandmaster plays a Grandmasterly move. I mean, this guy is not messing around. He's willing to give a piece back to defend his position. So he has a very good sense of danger. And white has to take it. So we now have a crazy position where basically white has no development and black is saving his butt by sacking a piece back. But I'm very concerned about the battery of the black queen and bishop on the long white square diagonal. Okay, white has to be extremely careful here. This was apparently a blunder. But, you know, it's not easy to play like a computer. I mean, queen f2 apparently much better than queen g4. But this is the way all of his games are, s4. Like, when he plays against me, look at any of his games against me, how insane they are. The other day, he found a weird way to, like, sack a piece for 3 pawns, and I managed to draw. Too focused on the name of the king. Yeah, one-dimensional. Nikolai Krogius, the Soviet Grandmaster who was a psychologist, he called it, like, obsession with direct attack. He kind of diagnosed psychological things that are wrong with certain players, and you would be lumped in that category. Like, it's a strength, but it's a weakness at the same time. Obsession with direct attack. You can't really, let's say, you know, adapt to playing a different kind of style in a different sort of situation as easily as other players. But this is a problem. I mean, this Grandmaster is going to take you out if he has any kind of technique now. You're basically playing 2 pieces down. I understand your plan here. He's looking at the white squares. Now he needs like 2 more moves and it's over on the white squares. S4 sensed it, you know. He's like, all right, I'll trade. I don't want to get mated. And the guy was like, You know, I want to mate you. My bishop's coming next. And he managed to find an annoying defense. Rook f7. Man, I mean, you almost have time to get your other rook in the game here. Actually, I think this is a major chance to play rook e1. Peter likes this move, though. This centralizing, the power of the centralized queen, very good, guys. It's now 6 o'clock. I'm gonna be streaming for another half an hour, so we'll do as many games as we can. But this is powerfully centralized. You know, good D really by s4. He's basically playing only moves not to get mated on the white squares in the long diagonal. So the psychologist who's a GM is an old school like Soviet Grandmaster, Nikolai Krogius. It's actually Krog. He might be like Lithuanian by you know, like sort of heritage. I'm not sure, you know. I mean, when I see the IUS, I'm thinking Lithuanian. But he was a Soviet Grandmaster. He wrote a good book on chess psychology. It's probably out of print, at least in English. I do have a copy floating around somewhere. Queen d7, rook b1, bishop b7, and then here we go again. One track mind. I think your opponent has the same disorder. The same disorder. Obsession with direct attack. You found it on Amazon. What kind of edition is that? That can't be like a new book. It must be an old one. Apparently g5 was a mistake. This guy is thinking king side, king attack. He was too much even for Saul in this game. Wow. Nice game, though. Filtering in, he finds this move. I probably would have missed that in time pressure. But it's amazing now. This just doesn't work. White's just lost. And now here. This is crushing. Black's actually down the exchange, right? Very surgical. One more check. Your last check, probably. That was a mistake. He had queen g2 check. Anyway, guys, it's over here. $44 for an old one. Wow, maybe I'll sell mine. $44, that's pretty good. All right, guys, let's take a look at a few more games. We've got Nefedov, Bob, and Chestosterone. Thanks, everyone, for subscribing and watching the stream. Tomorrow we'll have Blitz and Rapid Chess, 4 p.m. EDT, once again. Okay, this is Nefedov. I get a choice of games. I like when Nefedov gives me a choice. My game against the opponent who was graded 27, 24. What? Elo at some point. Wait a minute. I just need to hit my head. Alright. My game against the opponent who was graded 27, 24 Elo? What are you talking about? Is this a joke? A random GM. Oh, the same guy. What are you talking about? 20? Is that a misspelling? You can't possibly. So, according to Nefedov, Krogias has German background. He's a fluent German speaker. He was a spy. Wait a minute now. But please clarify this for me. What do you mean he was graded 27, 24? You took him out? Oh, you're talking about Vallejo. Paco Vallejo. Alright, let's check out the game with Vallejo. Yeah, no, okay. Now I understand who you're talking about. This is Blitz Chess. Or we can see this game against Chess Coach. Chess Coach got too much coverage here. Let's look at this game against Paco. You got 3-3 casual blitz. Nefedov is white against Paco. I won't say a disparaging story. Alright, so e4. Stick with your guns, Nefedov. It's nice to see, like, you know, players like Nisapianu and Vallejo. And it's nice to see a player like Vallejo, like, not playing bullet. I mean, he plays bullet, but he doesn't only play bullet, you know? And I think that's cool. I think these guys who just play bullet are just shortchanging chess. Okay, so e6, let's see what's going on here. C takes d4, knight takes d4, a6, and then c4. I don't play c4, but it's a very popular line. A type of Marazzi against the Khan Sicilian. Perfectly okay. And here apparently a3 is the main move. I've never played this position in a tournament game for either side. Might have had a blitz game with black or two. I do play the hedgehog, and it could transpose, but in the hedgehog normally your bishop's going to, like, you know, g3, so g2. You can still call it a hedgehog, but it's not an English hedgehog. It's like a Khan Sicilian type of hedgehog for black. So Nefedov knows a little bit of theory. I think I did play this one game against Nefedov, like, long ago. Yeah, I don't want to tell personal stories disparaging people. Alright, bishop d3 now. That's the best square typically. And I was talking about this with another player recently. This bishop, you know, Who was I analyzing this with? Someone made a comment, Grandmaster made a comment that, the bishop on d3 is not necessarily a piece that white mind's giving up. You gotta just not be thinking, oh, that's a good bishop. That's a bishop you're willing to trade for a strong knight, let's say. Wow, Bob Sacramento met Lawrence Fishburne once. He was filming the Searching for Bobby Fischer, right? Bishop d3, bishop d6. This is a typical idea. Surprisingly, there's no games with this. Now, apparently, Nefedov's supposed to play bishop e3, but bishop d3 is okay. I guess it was move 11 I was looking at this type of line with. He'll remember. Though bishop d6 is a typical idea in these types of positions, it's never been played here. That's weird. I mean, it looks like a playable move. It makes sense. Well, I mean, g3 is not appealing, h3 is not appealing, f4 is not appealing. What's wrong with bishop d6? Looks like a perfectly normal move for this type of line. And yet it's never been played before. In the lichess database. We could find like lower rated guys who probably tried this out. I mean, if White's bishop was on e2, he would have like crushing knight b5, game over. Okay, Nefedov decides to play g3. That looks kind of weakening. I mean, since your bishop's on d3, if your bishop was still on f1, I'd be all for playing g3 and bishop g2. But having played bishop d3, this does look considerably weakening. I mean, h3 is weakening too, but I think that's just normally what happens in this type of line. You just have to weaken one or the other. And as my friend, not friend, but as a player I knew pretty well, David Grigo, once explained, when you play h3, you only weaken one square. You weaken the g3 square. When you play g3, you weaken two squares. So in a vacuum, it's better to play h3. This database is only games where both players are 2200 and above. So if you look in ChessBase, for example, you might find a game where like one player is like 2175 and the other player is like 2650. Those games are actually not included in this lichess Opening Explorer. Everyone has to be like 22.00, and above. So you do miss games. I mean, a game between a 2100 and a 2600 probably is a pretty good game that shouldn't be neglected from the database. Anyways, whatever. It's you've won a professional database, you should get ChessBase, but then you have to weed out the like under 8 championship of Nepal. I mean, it's a lot of work. Anyway, so Nefedov decides to go with g3, and now Mr. Paco is going to look for this long diagonal, maybe h5 type of stuff. If he feels really frisky, he might go like one of our Aldisto, one of our regular viewers, likes to do that. It would be justified here to play h5. Now it's like extremely tempting to play h5. Like he could do it, but it looks like Vallejo is concerned about his development, so he plays knight c6. Still no tactics for white. Bishop e3 is tempting, but then you can get complicated stuff like here, threatening here, and here. Nefedov tries to keep it simple, but I don't know. One thing, if you're playing a lower rated player, I'd be concerned about d-takes, which would really stabilize the position. We're not really afraid of that against Vallejo. I mean, Vallejo is going to play for a win, so he doesn't want symmetry. H5, that's what Paco wanted to play. Did he analyze it or something? Bishop takes. And now he's got to worry about his bishop. Now this is just crazy. It's a fast time control 3+3, so even grandmasters miscalculate. I would have played d6 though. I mean, this looks like it's bad according to the engine too, but it looks the safest. Wow, he just goes crazy, tries to strafe this pawn. Now my first inclination would be to take with a knight. Does that drop a piece or something? Bishop takes e4. Bishop takes e4, yes. That simply drops a piece. Takes, and bishop takes c5. Bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4, bishop takes c5. Game over. Okay. But Vallejo thinks that he can win a pawn here. A p. What is the best line, though? It looks like Nefyadov's got the better of him. I mean, I like the way he played it. It was very natural to play queen b7. But he could have gone with h5. This is a move I would play in a blitz game. Whoops. And the next move, let's say h5 here. I mean, that gives him the additional option of maybe sometimes putting a knight on g4, and it makes for a crazy situation. So queen b7 apparently natural move, but not the best. Now he takes this pawn. Though it's hard to see a refutation, there is apparently a refutation. Oh, he streamed the game. I got you, yeah. Knight takes e4. I mean, this isn't that easy to judge. You know. There's like, what, bishop c2 or something crazy at the end of this line? That's hard to find. I mean, in a blitz game, 3+3, because there's a double threat of b4 trapping the piece, and then bishop e4 skewering Vallejo's queen to his rook. I mean, we can forgive Nefyadov for missing this. This is something you should see in a long game, but very hard to see in a blitz game. So they both like kind of missed it. And instead Nefyadov goes with this line. Now black has two options. I mean, taking on c3 or taking on c5. Taking on c5, though, I mean, it comes dangerously close to losing a piece. That looks too dangerous to even consider. So Vallejo takes here, and we got this position, this kind of technical position. When I prefer black, because I think he has a safer king. Unless you got mate with f5, f6. Basically, Nefyadov has to roll the dice here. If he doesn't give himself this f6, he just doesn't have anything. You know, I think maybe even black will play f5. Who knows? You know, this is a strong move. Vallejo here shows his understanding of the game. He's not materialistic. He realizes king safety is everything here. This pawn he could care less about, this pawn on c5. He's not concerned about Nefyadov having extra doubled c-pawns. King safety is the only factor that's important here. Now the question is, how is Vallejo gonna win? But there you go. Lots of weaknesses, so it's pretty tough. And I think it's just gonna go downhill now. So probably Nefyadov missed his golden opportunity with f5 to hang on with some sort of counterplay there. Right here at move 17. With f5, we've got the ideas of queen g4 and f6 and stuff like that. And if black can't comfortably castle kingside, I mean, this is the question here now. He has no other safe place to go. He could try something like h5, but he'll never feel comfortable. If he plays this, you know, how dangerous is f6? And that's the thing, you know. Now black will he'll never sleep easily after this, in this position. Even Grandmaster Vallejo will not sleep easily. So, yeah. That's about it, guys. Okay, we got time. We're going to try to get in these last two game analyses. I'm not going to take any more challenges. Sorry, guys, if you challenged me. Going to focus on the last game analysis here. Let me refresh this page. So I've got Bob and Testosterone. We're going to cancel these challenges. Sorry if I couldn't get to your challenge, guys. Bombist, please come back. Subscriber stream today. Tomorrow we'll be back with live challenges. I just accepted Bombist challenge. It's a good thing it wasn't rated. Sorry, Bombist. I did that yesterday to someone. I've only got 15 minutes left, and I've got to go. and I've got 2 games to analyze. So we are going to just finish this out, and then tomorrow, if you guys want to play, we'll have open challenges tomorrow. It'll be like 5+3 for everybody. So if you want to challenge me again tomorrow, I will accept your challenge in order, not just the subscribers, but everybody. Free Friday. Okay, Bob is up next, then Chess Testosterone. He's actually rematching me. Sorry, Bombs. I don't know if he's is he rematching me? I don't know if he listens to the stream or not. He doesn't talk in the stream. We've got Discord, guys. Check it out. Also, check out chesslecture.com. Chess site that I work for. We have a huge library of chess videos over there. You can get a subscription for 3 months. Bombs, I don't think he watches the stream. He's just like randomly challenging me. Alright. So, we've got Bob. Where is Bob? There's Bob. Please analyze. There was a funny incident where Grandmaster Lukács, a Hungarian GM, he's a theoretician. He had a game where he said, please draw to his opponent. I thought that was really funny. Like when a Grandmaster is begging you for a draw, please draw. Something lost in translation. So Bob is playing Turtle. This is correspondence. Oh, God. Alright, we're going to try to breeze through these 7 minutes apiece. Mr. Bob is white. Bob donated 300 bits this week. Thank you so much for that. Merle Dixon, move 11. Bob is playing the London system. Against, I don't think it's particularly good against the modern defense. Black's so flexible, you know. I like it against d5 most. I think putting the bishop on f4 becomes less and less appealing, like the more flexible Black's pawn structure really is. But it's playable. Okay, it's playable. See, already he's like kind of playing against that. If we look at the games, we see here that e3 is the most common move, but I don't think it's the best move. At this point, I would go Jobaba style and just play knight c3. The best bet for you at this point is to try to turn it into some kind of Pierce, where you're playing queen d2, and you're playing like bishop h6 at some later date when Black plays bishop g7 and knight f6, and you're playing bishop h6. It won't matter where your bishop came from, if it was on g5 or e3 or f4, it all just transposes. That would be my preference, to play queen d2 or knight c3 and do Rapport Jobaba. But e3, it's just kind of uninspiring. Now you're turning it into like a Roman Gingiashvili version of the London system, but this is a particularly good move order for Black. He could just play e5 here, I think. I mean, I wouldn't mind this at all for Black. You know, d takes e5, d takes e5. This engine evaluation has got to start dropping like a rock. I mean, this king in the center, it's not that big of a problem, and there's a strong pawn on e5 that kills the bishop. This really almost equalizes. Maybe just equalizes, period, like right away. Seriously, it just stops you in your tracks. My computer's kind of slow, so it's taking Stockfish a while, but it's just not going to happen. This is not going to happen. There's a neat line here. Bishop g3, e takes d4, e takes d4, knight e7, and the knight heads for f5. That's really sweet for Black. I'll have to try that myself. So Bob's probably wrong to play c4. No, it's still not too late to go Jobaba, but I think you do like normal knight f3, h3, bishop h2 type of stuff here. But again, e3 not very awe-inspiring. That's the beauty of this like modern trend to play bishop f4 in the London rather than knight f3 first. It gives white a lot of flexible options. You don't have to always play the routine London system setup with like knight f3, e3, h3, bishop b2. You've got other options to go Jobaba style with knight c3. So anyway, let's see what happens here. So Black, a little too routine. He's still got e5. He doesn't do it though. e5's so good for Black. I mean, it just punishes white. He just doesn't play it. He's going hippo style instead. And this is just not taking advantage of your opportunities with black. Still doesn't play e5. I mean, black's setup is okay, but it's like you missed how many chances to play e5 effectively. And then c5, this might even be a mistake. I mean, at this point, I think that d5 starts to become a legitimate option for white. And that's what Bob played. I mean, at what point does this become a kind of bad Benoni for black? Big mistake, man, to play c5. He should play knight e4. When you don't have space, and particularly in this Reti kind of hippo thing, yeah, you see some good player here. Salgado played this with black. Now I think that black is okay, like fully okay. But if you don't play knight e4, I like d5. But c5 is a particularly bad move. You know, I don't think white's going to be playing d5 unless black plays c5. Black can castle. He can hang out, but just don't play c5. After c5, d5, maybe he can try knight h5. I don't know. You know, he played h6. That's lame. He has to play knight h5. I mean, at least he can garner the bishop pair. I don't know if we're going to take on c3, but this is at least getting a valuable bishop off the board. If he waits one moment, you know, it's going to be a very bad situation. I've done this to 1,000 people. Now knight d2, white has a clear advantage. No more knight h5. No more fun. No more anything. It's just a bad Benoni for black. Period. This is already like a very, very bad situation now. How the game just changed in one move. So anyway, Bob, you played queen c2. Knight d2 is a killer. You take away knight h5. You support c4. You support e4. Queen c2 is a good square, but you should wait on that. The first thing is to play knight d2. You take away knight h5. You just got a great Benoni with white. It's a clear advantage. Just awful. Bishop on b7 has no point in being there. Anyway, guys. h3 is a good move. You know, turning out knight h5 again. Taking away knight h5. And then this is a4 or knight d2. You have lots of good moves. This is a bit weird. No, maybe if you had better total control, like you could think about that. But he's got b5. Bob needs to stay and play some prophylaxis here. a4 is okay. Not the most flexible move in the world, but if I can stop b5, I'd like to do that. You know, and we'll do this eventually. You can also like river guarding rook it with rook a3. I mean, that may not seem like a big deal right now, but after something like knight d2, bishop h2, e4, f4, e5, you could see the rook on a3 actually coming across. I have massive experience in these type of positions. The rook e1, he gets in b5 if he wants to here, and he's got counterplay. It's like a Benko now. Black's okay. Now, Bob made a very bad move, knight h2. It was like a mouse slip or something. I mean, bishop h2, his knight is hanging out to dry. You have a good game. Probably f5. He should try f5, but look, that loses tactically to knight h4. So it's just bad for black after bishop h2. I don't know that rook a1 is the wrong rook, because I don't really like rook on fe1 either. What I want to do is like have the rook on f1, maybe even rook ae1 later, but first we have to play stuff like bishop h2, knight d2, e4, f4, e5, and it could end up being like the rooks are okay where they are. But he played knight h2, that's crazy. And now it's just kind of a random position. Black has a dark squared bishop. He could have done Benko type of stuff. And it's getting random. It looks like f5 is a pretty good move. Gaining some space, breaking up his structure. Yeah, it's like maybe he should even take. Because now it's so damning, like the space is ridiculous. Still he needs to play b5. Bob, you gotta learn to play a4. Don't give him any counterplay. Don't even think about letting him play b5. There is no b5 now. Bob he managed to regain control. But can he break through now? Because he doesn't have good control of the dark squares. It may be kind of difficult. It's hard to crack the dark squares. You can see that. Bob doesn't have enough control. He's never gonna lose, but he's having trouble breaking it open. Yeah, and then this was probably debatable. Although, yeah, that's not a bishop, is it? On g7. It could crawl out later on, like through f8 and into the game. Snake Benoni style. And I'm moving kind of fast. I want to finish up this game and go to the last one with Testosterone. Black's holding on. Bob has no dark square control. He's going with h4. And Black does not play h5 there. Like a golden opportunity. And now that was a very bad mistake by Bob. Bob's Discount Furniture. You cannot let him live with that dark square bishop. I know it's hard to play this position, but you cannot play h takes g. Just, you cannot do it. It just brings his whole bishop to life. His whole bishop and nothing but the bishop. So, help you, God. Alright, b3 here. And it's anybody's game now. I mean, Black has a bad bishop, White has a bad bishop. Maybe it's a draw. It should be a draw, really, objectively. Nobody should win now. Unless you get your knight to e6 or something. If anybody's better, you have more space here. You played f4 and you hung a tactic. He didn't see it, or he did see it. Wow. He did see it. That was unfortunate. An unfortunate tactic. And then Bob played the wrong combo here. He actually has this, which gets a little bit complicated, like like a Sol game. It would still be a little bit complicated. Knight takes f6 check, bishop takes f6, queen takes h6 check, king g8, and you're down a piece. Some practical chances. Okay, crazy game, Bob. But I think we learned some things there. You know, how to handle that situation. If you had just played knight d2 and not allowed knight h5, you would have been like in a really good Benoni. Okay, last game to analyze, guys. We're going to take a look at Testosterone, then I've got to go in like 5 minutes. So, quick analysis here. Last game. Simul game. Man, GM chess coach. Alright, another GM chess coach. 30-30. How many simuls does this guy do? Alright. Heavy promotions. GM chess coach simul. Wow, we got quite a graph there. Another massively long game. Can you guys submit faster games for the last game? Alright. Testosterone brought this game in late. We'll do this just quick. Yeah, knight h2 was a bad move, Bob. It was a weird move, too. I mean, bishop h2 is just so natural there. I don't know what you were thinking. You were distracted. Clearly. Watching my stream or something. Knight c3, knight c6, bishop e5. Testosterone. Yeah, this is the second time we've seen chess coach playing the black side against s4 as well. He doesn't do anything like the trendy stuff. He just likes to play the same setup. g6, bishop g7. No knight d4. Yeah, I mean, I think you should take here. I mean, this is standard. This is like a Rossalimo Grand Prix attack. I like bishop takes c6. I mean, d takes is kind of lifeless for black, and the other capture, you know, this is risky for black strategically. This bishop could end up being a big problem. Most players don't allow this, you know. When I did play this variation a few times, I would have jumped at the chance to play bishop takes c6. No, I mean, I think he's giving you an opportunity there. Most players will not allow this. Look at the move. I mean, it's only 699 versus 2400. I prefer e6, you know, probably to g6. Bishop takes c6, b takes c. I mean, this is another line. This is well analyzed, though. You know, this is a really, really well analyzed variation on knight f3 here. And we should have a lot more games, actually. I don't think this is bad. Why are there not more games in this position? I don't think there's anything really wrong with black's game. That's strange, though. There should really be more games there. Okay. I guess the position can't be reached so easily through other move orders. So here you played 92. Well, you may transpose to a known position now. Knight d4. This is my game with... This is not my game. Why do I have a game with the bishop on c4 here? Well, I guess... I don't understand why there's not more games. I mean, I guess white castled a little early. Let's see. Bishop g7. The other argument is, like, some people play knight f3. But again, I would support bishop takes c6. Not a very common position. I mean, once you play knight e2, I still prefer to take on c6. So here, I mean, I guess bishop c4 is the most natural. And then we might get a transposition. If, what, d6... I mean, even knight h6 is maybe an interesting move here. I don't know. Okay, d6 looks like normal. d6, knight takes d4, c takes d4. They could even play bishop takes, queen f3, knight f6 or e6. There's a few games, but it's nothing special. So, just a kind of rare position. Okay. You take, knight e2. Now we're actually transposing into another variation that I played a bazillion times. If white retreats the bishop back to d3. I mean, I'm used to seeing this position with the bishop on d3 very quickly, but here he hasn't had to play that. Knight f6, d3. Yeah, I don't like this move. I never like this move. I always talk about knights on g3 being bad. I mean, this is not an exception. It has nowhere to go. Now, he's castled, so you don't have to worry as much about h5, h4, although it could happen. I just don't like putting my knight on g3. It's not that thing to really be excited about on e2 either, but... Well, this is weird. This is knight takes d4, knight takes e4. Queen b6, okay. Totally new position. Not a single game of this has ever been played. That's crazy. And somehow you don't lose a piece because of e5. It's like a draw or something. I mean, that's cool. You got a new position. It looks like majority of players play c3. These may be correspondence games. There's Uwe Bonch. That's a German grandmaster. Very old game from 1981. I think this is a real game from 2000. Actually, they're all over the board games. Okay. There's a Van Forest game from 2017. D takes C. Knight takes or B takes. I don't know which way to recapture. It's about equal. Okay, let's see what happens. So you played knight g3. It's a bad square. The knight has no future here. If you're playing a weak player, maybe you can just attack him. But against a GM, you know, I wouldn't want to take on d5, but you got to do something. Giving up your strong point, keeping it simple. Okay. I mean, f4 weakens the king side a lot, and you could end up with a knight coming and visiting you on e3. So, with white here, I would try to cut my losses and play it very solid, just piece development. Maybe bishop d2, queen e2, Maybe even on the queen side, some grabbing some space with like a4 or something. But f4 looks like you're playing against you know, a weak player that you can just checkmate. But this guy's a grandmaster. I mean, he's gonna kill you with like knight g4 or knight d5. Um, that already looks ugly. You got serious weaknesses on the dark squares. And even if he just plops the knight in there right away, which he did, it ends up being like really deadly on the dark squares. You got KG, he plays this, then you take, and now whatever happens, he has an unopposed dark squared bishop, which is very strong. So better for black. Let's see if you can survive here. He doesn't pull the trigger on the pawn grab. I have the same weakness too, but I don't know. You know, here it's looking like one of the situations where maybe black needs to just pull the trigger on this. Because no matter how not materialistic you are, I think we need to damage white's structure. I mean, the thing is, you leave white with whatever, you know, bad pawns. 2 bishops for black long term. I think we grab the pawn. And it's not even about material, just about, like, wrecking white's structure. He offered me a draw here. Oh, you should definitely take it. I mean, white is worse, you know. Well, I don't know when exactly he offered the draw, but this position is not great. Now, maybe later he offered to draw. I don't know. Maybe he offered to draw when he was worse. Bishop f5, though, I don't like. Okay, there's no good square. It's a classic bishop, but d7 is probably its best square. It looks both ways. It's just not a macho square, so a lot of people don't like to put it there. But it's safe. It doesn't get attacked by anything. f5 is bad. It gets attacked. It can be like, you know, kind of hit by both g4, knight g3. He should put the bishop on d7 if he puts it anywhere. He also has bishop c6, changing diagonals here to attack the king on h1. So he's playing a simul. I mean, not to be critical, but I like grabbing the pawn and bishop d7 better than this move. Then you went back. One of many problems with bishop f5. Now he woke up, took the pawn. At least you get to shatter his kingside structure, so there's some sort of play now. You know, he made a big mistake there. Take the pawn. Yeah, you don't mind giving up the 2 rooks here. You know, if he offers you a draw at this point, it's about equal. Now he takes this, which I can't blame him for, you know. But if he offered you a draw at this point, it looks like he offered a draw out of fear, and you shouldn't take it. When he played d5, oh, no, you should take the draw there. Your opening wasn't great. You know, once he played d5, he had a good game. I think that was when he achieved a small advantage. Blundering the tactic. That was in the position for a while. Now he has no play. You know, he's just like hanging on for a draw at best here. This is kind of a dangerous move. I'm a little scared of him invading here. You actually didn't have to do anything there. I mean, he's basically paralyzed. So, bishop e3, it's like, well, he's not really threatening anything. I think I would have made Luft for my king with like g3 or something like that. Right about now. Like this move. Just so I don't get mated later on. Computer's not crazy about it. But anyway. Alright guys, gotta wrap it up. Let's see what happened here. So, it was a crazy game. You gave him too much play against your king, and the rooks became really strong. Apparently he blundered there. Yeah, it's a simul. He doesn't have much time. He could have really posed serious problems with rook e8. Lots of mistakes. It's a fast simul, 30-20. So there's going to be a lot of mistakes by both sides. At this point, according to the engine, it's like a draw. You eventually went on to what? You eventually went on to lose? You eventually went on to lose. It's unclear and crazy, and I'm sure that there was a lot of things that went on. But objectively, this time control is pretty fast for a simul, so looks like it was kind of could have gone either way. I wanted to play a GM, couldn't care if I win. I understand. I mean, definitely would be nice to be the Grandmaster, though. You resigned at the end. Yeah, final position, let's take a look. I have to go. What happened? Wait, resigned at the end. Why did you resign at the end, though? Doesn't look like you're even lost. It doesn't seem like you're lost. I guess you just had to go or something. That's why you didn't take the draw. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, if we were basing the decision on the position, you know, if it was like a tournament game where there was something at stake, you know, should you take a draw or not? This, I don't understand why you resigned, though. Did you have to go or something? You felt lost here. I mean, you've struggled for like 60 moves. He doesn't seem to have like an immediate threat. You know, he has some threats, but you resigned in a savable position. All right, guys, I got to close down the stream. I will be back tomorrow. It's going to be Fast Friday Open Challenges.
No.
Yes, there is going to be Open Challenges 5+3 Blitz tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching and subscribing. That was the end of our subscriber stream. International Master William Pascal, thanks Soltigo for moderating. If you guys want to see the replays, check out YouTube. Video Chess Training on YouTube is the name of my YouTube channel. Thanks everyone for supporting the stream. Thanks Bob, thanks Merle, Move 11. Please donate via PayPal. You can do so either on YouTube or on my Twitch stream. Links. Fast Friday tomorrow, 5+3, 4 p.m. EDT. You can also check out our Discord, the link in the stream. Mubot, send that out there, the Discord link. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching and subscribing. Let's see how many viewers we had today. I didn't even bother to check it out, but whoops, sorry about the board there, guys. We got 35 viewers at the moment, so not so many for the subscriber stream. But this is a really kind of private stream, so I just do this for you guys who subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was constructive even for me. I enjoy watching, I enjoy analyzing games, and it's my pleasure. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Soltigo. We will be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.